Welcome to the Pioneer Sideline. I'm your host, Aaron Cooney, episode 139 coming at you here. And as we mentioned, going to take a look at the baseball and softball teams. Open up with a little softball action. We got to get out to a couple games this past week. Point Park taking on Malone University, a team that just left the AMC. A little former conference rivals getting on. It's the Battle of the Pioneers. First time we've heard that in a while. As we see Point Park looking to get off the schneid. They've fallen a bit of hard times. As you see, bases loaded. Game one here. Malone up at bat. After a couple walks, Hirschberger with the sac fly. This is all part of a three-inning top of the second here for Malone. And they would take the lead 3-1. And after an RBI single in the bottom of the second, Nichelle Navarro up. Bases loaded over the left fielder's head there. Hit off the top of her glove. Going to bring home 3 runs off the error from the left fielder, Sam Blanette. Point Park having a big bottom of the fifth here. And then you're also going to see Navarro there on third. Little pitch out from the pitcher, looking to get the out, possibly catcher stealing. No, that's over the head of the third baseman. Navarro comes in to score, all part of a 5-run inning for Point Park. They take the lead 7-3. Then Robertson, she's just going to shut things down here. Gets Locker swinging. Then Hirschberger, thank you for coming. Take a look at that one. Point Park looking to hold on here. Last chance for Malone now. Top of the seventh. Get an RBI there. Bring 1 run in, but it's just not going to be enough. As you're going to see Hirschberger up one more time, chasing into the dirt. Point Park, it's their win. Kelsey Robertson with the complete game, 7 innings pitched, 8 hits, 5 runs, 7 strikeouts. And Matt, going to join us here, Matt Desmond, for a little softball talk. And Matt, big win for the Pioneers, and it's all started with a big outing from Kelsey Robertson.
Yeah, Kelsey Robinson's really the whole pitching staff for this Point Park Pioneer softball team. When Robertson's on the mound, the Pioneers have a very good chance of winning that game. And Robinson, she just was really commanding on the mound. She had 7 strikeouts, but she allowed 5 runs and 4 walks to a Malone team who's down this year. And that really worries me because Kelsey Robinson's the ace of the staff, and if she's having a bad game, it's not going to look very good for the rest of the team, and see how the rest of the staff can pick up her slack.
Want to check in on Kelsey Robertson. A bit of news on her later on in the show. Point Park playing 2 is a doubleheader against Malone. Let's take you to the highlights of Game 2. Point Park looking to pick up the sweep here possibly against the Malone Pioneers. Starting off bottom of the second. Runner on third. It's Abby Matthew, but Danielle Durando gets caught at first. And Matthew, you make the call. Umpire says out at home. Point Park can't cash in the bottom of the second. Let's go to the top of the fifth now. 2 outs. That one gets through the infield. Runners on first and second here from Malone now. Next batter. You'll see a little drop. You're going to drop right between the catcher and the pitcher. Can't make the play at first. They eat the ball. Bases juice now coming up. Desi Givens. And whammy! That's going to be out of here. The grand slam, I should say, for Desi Givens. And that's going to be all the run support that the Malone Pioneers were going to need. A 4-0 lead now. And Shelby Snyder at the mound. As we said, all she's going to need is you get Zoe Hughes, good morning. Amanda Ardinger, good evening. And Teresa Davis, good night. Down swinging. Snyder goes 7 innings pitched, 4 hits, 0 runs, and 6 strikeouts. Point Park falls 4-0, moves on to 6-10. And Matt, that's been the story pretty much for the softball team, is they can't string together 2 wins in a row, falling in these doubleheaders, and that's why they've fallen to where they're at right now in the standings.
No, exactly. The consistency is really not there for the Point Park Pioneer softball team. You look at that pitching staff and you really look at Robertson. She is the key player for that staff rotation. And once you go downhill from there, it's a lot of inexperience. And you saw what Kuhn was on the mound, really didn't have a lot of command in that game, and really there wasn't any run support for Kuhn either. They were unable to score against the Malone team, who's only 4-13. I really expected more things from the Pioneers in that game, and they were unable to deliver for Point Park.
They had 2 more games there on the week. They would take on SUNY Canton for a doubleheader actually, they were supposed to play a couple games, but a couple got rained out. But the past Friday, they took on SUNY Canton in the first game there. Big win, 15-2. And Matt, you were talking about the bats. They came alive for this game. There you see Eisentrout going 5 innings pitched, 1 hit, 2 earned runs, 9 Ks for her. Ashley Moran, 3 for 3 with 2 RBIs. And then game 2 at the nightcap, these are another win for the Pioneers, 8-0. All part of this, the 8-run roll. Point Park finishing these games early. Teresa Davis, 2 for 3, 2 home runs, and 5 RBIs. She's a 2-run shot and a 3-run shot. And, Matt, you got to ask, is this the jump start that the Pioneers bats needed coming out? Play a lesser team in SUNY Canton, and they're 2-10 on the season. But is that what they needed to jumpstart these bats here?
I mean, really, I think you need to come out with a winning opponent and do that. I mean, these schools like SUNY Canton, that's comparable to a Penn State Fayette on a basketball level there. I mean, the offense should be able to do that against a school like that. So, I mean, it should be a jump start for this team, but I don't know if it's going to be enough because you look at their conference play. They have a first-year team in Houghton, but, Carlo, they're actually a pretty good team this year. They're 17-4, and others receiving votes right now in the NAIA. So, it should be a wake-up call for Point Park. Say, hey, guys, we can do this, but, we have to be more consistent, and I don't know if they can with their pitching rotation. So a lot of question marks going into the AMC play.
They had their weekend games postponed. Notre Dame, they're supposed to play on Saturday, a doubleheader. That was postponed until April 14th. Also, Ursuline, they're supposed to play Sunday in an Ohio doubleheader there. That game got rained out as well. They'll make it up this week, coming up on Tuesday. And, Matt, one other question for you. When you take a look at the team, it's been consistency, but also the consistency of the starters. And that hasn't been there. And these are veteran players that have been around for a while, and it hasn't been there. What seems to be the problem for this team?
No, really. I mean, really, you look at this roster and you see, well, Zoe Hughes is expected to be a very big player for the Pioneers. Really hasn't shown up that big. And then you see Julie Campbell, the big, powerful first baseman. Thought she'd have a big year. But, last year we saw some glimpse of Ashley Moran at shortstop and the power she had. She saw that in the SUNY Canton game. But I expect the consistency of these batters to be there more relevant throughout the season because you need some power to go behind this pitching staff because they're not going to be reliable throughout the whole season. So your offense has to show up day after day.
That is the thing. We'll take a look at the road ahead a little later on the show. Matt, thank you for joining us. We'll have you back in just a short segment. We're going to step away for a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll have Chris Hoffman to join us, and we'll talk a little bit of Pioneer baseball as this team seems to be on a roll as well. Stick around.